Today, we're diving into a fascinating story. Is the newly discovered Waltz in A minor truly a work by Chopin? Does it really sound like Chopin? And what secrets does the manuscript hold? I'll also show you where to find the score of the A minor Waltz so that you can try it out for yourself. But before we begin, I have a quick question for you. What did Chopin want to happen to his unpublished works? This is the story of the Waltz in A minor. It's not every day that a new piece of Chopin just pops up, so you may be wondering, where has it been for the last 195 to 200 years? The New York Times just last week broke the news that Chopin had dropped a new single, complete with a recording by Lang Lang. But the manuscript was actually discovered back in the spring while curator Robert McClellan was going through a collection at the Morgan Library and Museum in Manhattan. So if this is a piece by Chopin, where would it fit? Only 19 waltzes of his 37, it said he composed, survive today. Only 8 of them were actually published during his lifetime. The buzz around the piece has been extraordinary, but not everybody is as convinced, and there have been some mixed reactions. There's been a healthy dose of skepticism as well, and this is partially due to a few oddities in the score. The first thing that jumps out to you is its length. It is incredibly short, at only 24 bars long. It is much shorter than even the next shortest waltz, which is about 56 bars long. It does, however, have a repeat. This makes it seem as though it could be a rough draft or an initial idea to be explored later. But there is another reason, which we'll explore a little bit later on, as to why it could be so short. Then there's the bold fortissimo right at the beginning, along with a little bit of dissonance. Now, while this isn't completely out of character for Chopin, think Ballade No. 2 with its crazy contrasts, it is a little bit surprising given the scale of the waltz. That being said, the waltzes do vary enormously from the grand scale and the technical brilliance in the Grand Valse Brillante compared to something like the simplicity of the other A minor waltz, B150, although its authenticity has been questioned and it wasn't confirmed to be by Chopin until about 100 years after it was written. Then there's the melody, its simplicity, its lyrical nature, the triplet figurations, the way the harmony changes. These are all hallmarks of Chopin's compositions. So why the doubt? And surely the manuscript holds some answers. The piece has been dated to about 1830 to 35, which would put Chopin in his mid-20s, just around the time that he was composing some of the other waltzes. Typically, when someone wants to claim something, they'll write their name on it. Same for composers when they're writing compositions. But although Chopin's name is written on the score, it's not in his handwriting. As for the score itself, the handwriting of the individual notes, the manuscript paper, the distinctive style of writing, the bass clef, and even some of the artistic doodles on the score all point to the hand of Chopin, say the Morgan. But how did it end up there? And where's it been all this time? Well, it sat in the museum for about 5 years, waiting to be catalogued due to delays from the pandemic. The manuscript came to the museum through a bequest from Arthur Satz. He himself had bought it from the widow of Cheryl Whitten Jr., who was the director of the New York School of Interior Design, but he was also an amateur pianist. He passed away in 1976. According to the New York Times, his children suggested that many of his manuscripts had come from the Walter R. Benjamin autograph shop on Madison Avenue, but when he acquired it is still a mystery. With all of these quirks and the novelty surrounding this new piece, it's no surprise that there are doubts surrounding it. There's no doubt that it was Chopin who wrote these notes, but did he compose them? I suppose this could be the work of a student closely mimicking the style of Chopin, but to me this seems unlikely. It's convincing that this is a work by Chopin, and although it's criticized by some, I really rather like it. Just yesterday I was playing through this piece. A student came in, instantly recognizing the style of Chopin, although they'd never heard the piece before. One theory is that the manuscript's small size could mean that it could have been a gift manuscript. This was a type of piece that he'd write to students, friends, or patrons. The problem with this, though, is that it remains unsigned, and most of these would have had his signature on them. This could be because he hadn't decided to give it away yet, or he had decided not to give it away. It could be an unfinished work, or it could be an idea hastily written down to be refined later. But what is known is that it was his wish for any unfinished and unpublished works to be burned after his death. Let me know your thoughts on the Waltz in A minor. If you'd like to have a look at the score, you can find it on IMSLP from the link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you'd like to know the one skill that Chopin suggested that every pianist must master, check out this next video.